Assalamu alaikum, family. Peace be unto you. You're tuned in to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show. I'm your host, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. And today we're starting week one of our 9-week series on my book, The Mind of an Entrepreneur show, or The Mind of an Entrepreneur. This is The Mind of an Entrepreneur show. So sit back, tune in. We're going to give it about 5 minutes. Make sure the algorithm lets everybody know that we're here. Give you time to grab your book because we're going to go over the intro and chapter 1. And I got some important announcements. And we got to get this in before the debate is over because I know that's what y'all all want to go watch. So sit back, relax, tell a friend, like and subscribe. We'll be right back.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
All right, family. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. Tonight is the first of our 9-week review of this book. And some of the stuff in this book I wrote almost 10 years ago. And it was really fascinating to me to go back and look at what was just kind of downloaded to me that over time. I remember I was on the road when I first started writing this book. Now this book came out, it's like 100 and some pages. There originally was about 300 or 400 pages to it. I decided to cut it down. We have a new book coming out. I'm going to tell you the name of the book towards the end of this series, because if I say it now, folks just going to use it and start getting using Chat GPT to create their own thing. So we're going to wait, and we're going to do a very special launch to the book. That's going to be very, very different. So a few quick announcements. Tomorrow morning and Saturday morning, we got the Sajdah Morning Coffee Talks. I'm going to talk about tomorrow how life be lifing, right? And how you just got to keep on going. Even if I was recently dealing with a lot of stuff and still going through it, that's really, really challenging. And I honored and appreciate people who showed me grace, people who showed me mercy, and people who just gave me some love through that trying times. And now that I'm on the tail end of it, still very, very challenged. Anybody who has loved on me and given me grace, I'm just saying special prayers for. And so that's what I mean by life be lifing. And we're going to talk about that tomorrow, because you just never know what somebody's going through. But, folks got to do what they got to do to protect themselves and do what they feel like they need to do. But showing grace and mercy is a beautiful thing. And I've definitely learned that over the last couple of weeks. So we're going to talk about that. And this week, we're going to get into this book. If you don't have it, you can grab it on Amazon. I put this out like 2016 or 2017. And it's gotten a lot of legs to it. And we've done really, this book has done good. And a lot of people like it. There's a couple of small universities that are using it as curriculum. And we hope they pick up the second book and do the same. What I'm going to do tonight, which is what we're going to do every night, we're going to go over, not every night, but every week, we're going to go over a chapter just to review, just to ramp ourselves up and get us ready for the new book. Because sometimes we get out of practice. And what I've learned over the years is a couple things, is that it takes practice, practice, practice. We have to keep focusing. That's first thing. Second thing, when you've been marginalized, like what we're going to talk about tonight, it is a very holistically damaging process. And it takes a holistic approach in order for us to heal. So there's not just one way to heal. We have to heal physically, mentally, spiritually, financially. Our health has to heal. We have to deal with traumas. We have a lot of work in front of us. And so much work that there has to be a power greater than us that's helping us. And we're going to talk about that a little bit as well, too. The key thing is doing for self so that we can make it through this economic adjustment and the economic fall that we're right in the middle of. We have to figure out how to do it. And I'm going to tell you, it's not through being a predator. It's not through being cutthroat. It ain't through trying to see who you can hurt and dog out. I'm about as much grace as I possibly can extend to myself and to people during these very, very difficult and trying times. I mean, a lot of us are right there on the edge of snapping. And I know I've been there, and I know a lot of you have been too. So let's see. I see a few of y'all in the chat. Good evening, Mom. Nubia Latifa said, we in here. I know that's right, girl. She said, greetings, everybody. Brother Ronald, I see some more of y'all up here that are not in the chat, and that is okay. We're starting with the introduction. I'm going to read the introduction word for word because I think it's important that you all understand why I wrote this book. Okay. Um, Introduction. With the rise of technology over the past 2 decades, life moves faster than ever. And I just want us to see how apropos the book is and was. When it came out in 2016, very timely and very appropriate. And it's still very timely and very appropriate today. So you can still give these out as gifts. Um, with the rise of technology over the last 2 decades, life moves faster than ever. The rate of change has also accelerated. Now, imagining the digital cameras we all had only a few years ago is laughable when our phones are also our cameras, our computers, and our organizers. We can still relate to that, huh? Many people worry that these changes are fraying the moral fiber of our country with all the immediacy that we have come to expect. Knee-jerk reaction seems to have have replaced thoughtful responses. That's part of what we're going to talk about tomorrow. These knee-jerk responses, um, and the emotional intelligence and judgment that we are using on each other. Let me tell you something. I've been attending a lot of, government meetings and meetings where community meetings, and I have come to the conclusion over and over and over and over again that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is right and that we are going to have to do for self. And we're going to talk about that because um, there's just not enough help that they're going to be able to give us. And even if they do give us massive amounts of money, let's say we get tax breaks, inshallah, we'll get that. Let's say we get educational breaks. Let's say we get a break from certain background checks and things like that. As a community, we are going to have to learn how to offer grace and mercy to one another. We just got to straight up stop being so mean to each other. Straight up. The only way you and I are going to get through our trauma and get through what we've been through is we got to stop being the person that, let me say it this way. Everybody knows there's a such thing called epigenetics. And what the epigenetics means is that in the DNA of a person who has gone through trauma are survival mechanisms so that in the next generation, they don't have to go through that same level of trauma. If we don't stop responding and responding as if we are going through the same trauma as our parents, and if we don't stop judging everyone through the lens of the trauma that we've gone through, we will not heal. And in this day and time that we're moving through, where we are going to have to learn how to navigate beyond our intellectual capacity, we're going to have to make sure that we deploy some soft skills, some heart skills, some solar plexus skills, some skills that connect us to a power higher than ourselves. And we cannot always be so hardcore and so daggone mean every time we think something threatens our ego. I mean, sometimes people just hurt. Sometimes people are just going through things and they don't mean no harm. They're doing the best they can. We got to figure out how to be able to extend that level of mercy to one another. Welcome, good God. Welcome, Sister Betty. Welcome, Sister Karima Muhammad. Welcome. She says, Assalamu alaikum, Sister Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. Definitely shared this. Thank you. All right. One of the main areas where rapid changes are reshaping the game is work. Y'all notice y'all work life has changed. Job situations have changed. Keeping your head down, doing your job, and trusting that everything will work out simply does not work anymore. Everybody type in the chat. Old business models no longer work. Okay. Gone are the days where you worked at a company like our parents did in the 70s and you end up retiring from there. That's not happening anymore. That you may be 30, 40 years at the same company. No, not happening. Okay. Yet personal accountability is more critical today than ever before. There is no longer anywhere to hide that isn't vulnerable to exposure. Okay? Everything is exposing us to this day. Everything. If you got any kind of insecurities, trust me, you're going to get exposed. Karma, either just if it's nothing else, just somebody else's reaction to what you're going through. The exposure's everywhere. Okay, I'm gonna skip on down here. In addition, we have access to more tools that help us get all up in each other's business. Personal privacy has become one of the hot button issues of the day, with barely a month going by without the revelation of yet another data breach, even among some of the world's most prestigious companies or organizations. We all have to come to terms with mistakes and mishaps which happen much more quickly. The ways we handled mistakes in days past no longer work. All right. We're reading from The Mind of an Entrepreneur. If you don't have the book, you can grab my book on Amazon. Sister Sandra says, greetings of peace, love, and blessings to everyone. Motor Day University Thursday. Thank you, Sister Sajdah. You are welcome. Old business models no longer work. Everybody type that in the chat. Okay. We got to come up with new business models. We cannot take the same old business models, begin to deploy them, and assume that we're going to get different results than those that impacted us over the past 400 to 500 years. Got to change the model up. You may have to tweak it. I'm not saying you got to reinvent the wheel, but we have to be able to be critical thinkers. Part of the problem is that a lot of us are not problem solvers, and a lot of us are not critical thinkers. A lot of us are ego driven, very ego driven. We more worried about somebody hurting our ego than being able to tweak a business model. Okay. We got to get over that. We got to get to the point where we can start working together. We can love on one another a little bit more, because at the end of the day, that's what a lot of us need. All right, let's keep going here. All these changes mean self-improvement and adaptability are more critical than ever. Y'all know where I got that from, right? Self-improvement is the basis of community development. Please type that in the chat. Self-improvement is the basis of community development. I'm going to say it one more time. Self-improvement is the basis of community development. Please type that in the chat. All these changes mean self-improvement and adaptability are more critical than ever. And where did I get that from? Self-improvement is the basis of community development. Put that in the chat. That's a chat note. When all we had to do to survive was to follow the rules of employment, we didn't have to worry about improving ourselves or elevating our consciousness in order to maintain a living. We reserved that for church on the weekends and made money based on how well we performed at work. Again, self-improvement is the basis of community development. While we may have focused on becoming more productive, this mindset didn't force us to be better people. As a result, the level of universal unconsciousness has risen. Universal unconsciousness has risen. You all heard me talking about in Coffee Talk, I think it might have been Monday morning motivation or Coffee Talk over the weekend. One of them, I said, let me tell you something. Those of us that call ourselves conscious people, we got to learn how to be more united. We have to learn how to stop wanton criticisms of one another. We have to stop being so evil and mean towards one another and so daggone insecure, because guess what? Ratchetness is united. The people who are ratchet, they got money behind them, they got networks behind them, and they are united amongst each other. Well, where are we at as conscious people? See, we like to sit back and say, well, don't nobody want to watch my show because all they care about is ratchetness. That's what everybody want to see. Well, what do you care about? When's the last time you liked or subscribed or sent a love offering to somebody who was teaching you something, or teaching you something that you could, or sharing something with you that you can use to change your life? When the last time you liked and subscribed and sent a love offering to this show? When's the last time you liked and subscribed and sent a love offering to 19 Keys or Forbidden Knowledge, or somebody else out here who's doing great work on the net and spreading Dr. Brother Rizza Islam? When's the last time? There's a lot of people out here doing, but when's the last time we did that to support those people? Because guess what? When ratchet people get on this here good internet, and when ratchet people get on this good old YouTube, you know what they do? They like, they subscribe. That's all you see in the chat is them sending love offerings and cash apping, and the person's phone is just bling, bling, bling. And the whole time, the more ratchet it is, the more people are supporting. Well, that ain't their fault. That's our fault that people aren't paying attention to our shows and shows like this. It's our fault because we sit on here and we just watch and stare. See, this is what we do as conscious people. We don't put our money where our mouth is, but ratchet people do. Unconscious people do. They could be watching something. It could be total lies. It could be nakedness. It could be degradation. It could be murder. It could be anything. And they will be liking. They will be subscribing. They'll be sharing it with a friend. They'll be calling their homegirl and their homeboy. Look, hurry up. Check this out. Look and see what they're talking about. Let me send you the link. They'll be going down at the bottom of the screen, hitting the super chat. And if you ever get on any of those shows, sometimes I watch and it just goes up. The chat is just flying. That's what we're doing. That's what the ratchet people are doing. But what are we doing as conscious people? We don't take time to support and love on one another, give each other mercy, give each other grace, and say, you know what? Something didn't look right with my sister today. Let me go check it out. Anybody, there's people in this chat that can tell you that if you call me, if I have time in the middle of the day to share something with you, to love on you, to help you, I will do it, because that's what it's going to take in order for us to be able to see these next levels of consciousness that we all say we want to see. So don't get mad at ratchet people and don't talk about them and label them and say, oh, that old ratchet show, and Negroes don't care about nothing but ratchetness. That's all they watch. Don't get mad, because you got to ask yourself, what are you doing? Are you doing for self? So if you, right, are a conscious person and you say you understand the power of doing for self, you get the mind of an entrepreneur. What are you doing for yourself? Are you supporting other people that are promoting information that represents who you are or who you want to become? What are you doing? I don't want to hear nothing else no more about these ratchet people. I don't want to hear nothing else no more about how much money they raising, how they doing, how they getting millions of dollars, and how it don't make no sense, how everybody support them. Because most of us that are conscious and spiritual, we got to sit down and ask ourselves, how much are we supporting one another? All right, let's see. I see y'all saying a few things. Hey, Sister Danielle, assalamu alaikum. She said, I bear witness. Oh, that's my girl right there. Praise be to Allah. Absolutely. Sister Nubia Latifa, sometimes we can be so conscious that we become pretentious. I'm going to leave that up on the screen for a minute. We become so conscious and so spiritual that we become pretentious. We ain't doing for self. That's right. Don't get mad. Get busy. I love that, Sister Karima. Don't get mad. Get busy. Don't get mad because they out here with their thongs on, got their BBLs up on the screen, twerking and gyrating. Don't get mad because they getting millions of dollars. Because guess what? It's enough money in our community right now today that everybody in here that got a business that's looking for funding, if us as conscious people took the time, I don't care if you didn't do nothing but just give $10, $100, $500, $1,000. I don't care if you didn't do nothing but that. There's enough money in our community for us to be able to fund these righteous businesses that we're on here trying to start. So before you get critical, before you become self-righteous, ask yourself, when's the last time I gave a love offering? When's the last time I cash out? Even if I didn't look, I'm so grateful. Some of y'all just cash. Some of y'all used to Zelle me so many like $1 and $2 that Zelle was like, we cutting you off. We ain't got time to be processing these $1 and $2. I can't even have Zelle out of that account no more. But you know what that told me though? Was that people were paying attention and maybe they didn't have enough, or maybe they were scared to allocate more than $1, but they still did it. That's just my rant, because I'm really on that nowadays. Stop letting ratchetness win by being more united than consciousness. All right. Okay, let me skip on down here. Entrepreneurship can usher in a new age of civilization. We already know, we've been taught that we must get up and do something for ourselves. This is civilized behavior, doing something for yourself. It may take some time. It may be difficult. You may have to work a job. You may have to bridge a gap. But getting up and doing something for yourself, making the move towards that, is part of living the lifestyle that you say that you want, in addition to putting your money where your mouth is. Sister Karima said, what's my Cash App? It's right here on the screen, sis. Right under my name, it says Love Offering, Cash App, $ Sajdah Enterprises, right here on the screen. Somebody put that in the chat for me while I keep reading. As the economy continues to correct itself and the universe keeps on shaking things up, many are turning to entrepreneurship, okay, as a way to sustain themselves, either by choice or more commonly because they have no choice. Now, let's talk about this. In a lot of cases, oh, she said, Sister Karima don't have her glasses on, y'all. Somebody put the Cash App in the chat. We can't send you no glasses, Sister Karima, so we're going to put it in the chat so you can just cut and paste. Let me say this about doing for self, because it used to be where people were doing for self by choice. They decided, I want to start a business. But because the parameters of employment and the number of jobs have decreased out here in the world, many of us are unemployable. It used to just be if you had a certain background that you were unemployable. But some of us have made too much money, or we have too much experience and we're priced out of the market. Some of us are unemployable because we become too conscious. Some of us are pushed out of jobs because there's no more revenue for us. A lot of companies don't like to have long-term employees. So when you reach that 5-year mark where all of a sudden you get vested, thank you, Brother Ronald, where all of a sudden you get vested, they let you go. And so now you're doing for self under duress. Right? It used to be where we had time to kind of steal away. But a lot of us ain't got time to steal away. We just out here. So we got to be creative. We got to find a way. And we got to know that there is another system out here and another way in which we can make money. But we first got to get our head together. And it doesn't help us to just run around and study business without making sure that we're improving, without making sure that we're healing. Okay? For every old opportunity that no longer exists, there are 3 more that have far greater potential. I'm going to read that again. For every one old opportunity that no longer exists, there are 3 more that have far greater potential. We are living in exciting times. We have more millionaires today than ever. We got people that are on here drop shipping on this good internet and making millions of dollars. You got Brother Ben X teaching digital real estate. You got people like myself doing coaching and consulting to help push you to that next level. And let me tell you something. I pray every single day to be able to do something to give back, to support you. So if you call me, we can be on the phone for an hour, and I promise you that Allah will give me something that will bless you and help you go to the next level. There's some of you in the chat that can bear witness. I'm serious about that. And my heart is clean when it comes to that. And because of that, I'm blessed to be able to support and help you. I want to see you all be in a position where you can be free, where we get to the point where money is no object. Okay. I know what it's like to not have money. I know what it's like to be short of money and for people to treat you like a criminal because you ain't got no money. For people to just start getting mad at you and hating on you because you trying to get the money, but you ain't got it yet. I know what that feels like. And so my dream is for us to be able to be free and for money to not be an object. Sister Danielle says she certainly can bear witness to that. Sister Danielle and I had a beautiful call this week, and I'm so grateful to be able to support her in her efforts, and got off that call and made sure I said a special prayer that the path be laid clear for her in her business so she can walk right into her blessings. Anytime you get a vision or a desire, that's nothing but the universe telling you, that's nothing but Allah telling you. Okay. And I'm speaking universally, whether you call him Allah, Jehovah, whether you know him as Master Father Muhammad, like some of us do, whatever you do, whatever that higher calling, that higher being is to you, start interacting with it so that we can all do better, so that we can be free from the bondage that lack of money and lack of opportunity puts us in. It puts us in mental bondage. It makes people look at us a different way. I remember my grandmother used to say, you ain't got no money. You ain't got no friends if you ain't got no money. And let me tell you something. I find myself feeling that, like, man, you get in trouble, get a little short, or don't owe nobody. Oh, they getting ready to do what they got to do to come at you. Let's dial that back a little bit. Okay? Let's dial it back a little. Let's dial it back a little bit. Let's work on building our community. Let's work on supporting one another. And if we need to heal, if you need to heal, if I need to heal, let's work on healing so that we can be better in relationships with one another. Because like I said, my prayer is that we can move through life where money is not an object. And some of y'all saying, yeah, right. I don't care if you're saying, yeah, right, because I believe that we can have that. I believe that we can become united enough, if it's nothing but a small tribe of us, where we can make a big difference in the world. And now with everything based on data, it's just all about algorithms. So the unity of a few of us will mess up the algorithm and shift some dollars our way if we play ourselves the right way. If we play the game the right way. Okay? I know what it's like. So it's not your fault. I know what it's like to feel criminalized because you don't have it. I know what it's like to feel less than because you don't have it. I know what it's like when somebody cuts off your financial flow and then people you don't owe flip, all of a sudden you got a real problem. I know what that's like. And we need freedom from that. We need that burden lifted from us. And if it just starts with a few of us, then let's let it just start with a few of us. But I'm determined we're going to get there. Okay, as a true entrepreneur, your performance and the energy you bring to it determines not just whether you are successful or not, it also determines whether you eat or have a roof over your head. Okay, unlike with a 9-to-5 job where you may rely on a check coming in every 2 weeks, if you are an entrepreneur and you don't conduct yourself properly in a meeting with a potential client, for example, you may not be able to pay your rent. That reality triggers a whole new set of emotions, okay, that you have to manage. See, as former slaves, as former colonized people, we've developed a different set of emotional muscles, okay, where we can take pain, we can take beatings, we can take a lick and keep on ticking, we can get knocked to the ground and we'll keep standing up. But the muscle of manifesting in the face of controversy is one that we have to work on. How do we manage situations when our ego feels bruised, when we feel like we're being taken advantage of? How do we lash out? What do we do? And how do we manifest? How do we continue to manifest in the face of controversy? It's real easy to manifest when things are going good. You get that momentum going, you can make anything happen once you get in that pocket and you get in that zone. But what happens when other things ain't going right? Maybe you sell cars and you ain't sold a car in 2 weeks. Maybe nobody's walked in your store. Maybe you got a problem with a vendor and they can't get your supply to you. Maybe your top staff member quit or left. What do you do then? And how do you keep going? And how do you keep your mind in a productive space so that you not only can preserve the relationship of your employee or your business partner or your friend or your relative, but then continue to manifest and continue to move forward? How do we do that? Sister Karima said, I get quiet and talk to Allah. Some people, Sister Karima, I've coached some people where they say, when I get upset, I can't even speak to Allah. That's a trauma response that we have to figure out how to get through. All right, let's keep going here. The growth process that entrepreneurship requires helps to create standards and codes of conduct in the community and the world at large. Your heightened level of consciousness contributes to the establishment of a civilized world. Your self-improvement process will contribute to community development and global moral evolution. The sooner you accept and embrace the reality, the sooner it will become true. If you are thinking of opening a business, and because you are holding this book, you clearly are, unless you have already opened a business, it's time to acknowledge and accept that you need to undergo mental, emotional, and even physical training in order to be successful. Some of us are just way too emotional to be successful in business. Some of us are way too traumatized by our childhood relationship with money to be successful in business. And I know it's not fair and it ain't your fault, but unfortunately, we got to heal. We got to work on it and we got to heal. Not because we want to be in business, because in most cases, we have to be in business. And in other cases, we should be in business for ourselves. All right. Okay. Let me go into this. Who am I to guide you? You all hear me say that I'm a coach with receipts. Okay. I've been blessed, and this is no cap, to honestly be a very sincere person. Anybody that's been in my life, I have sincerely been, Allah wired me to be sincerely about the business of helping them. And 9 times out of 10, that was the only reason that I've ever been in their life. Not because somebody else told me to, not because I'm cool with somebody else, not because I know somebody else. If I'm in your life and I'm close to you, especially if it's been on a long-term basis, because I really, really, really want to see you successful. And somebody told me that this was a trauma response. They said, you go so hard helping people, and that's a trauma response. Could be. Probably because I'm always thinking like, I want somebody to show me grace and mercy. I want somebody to help me if I need something. So could be. But either way it go, I'm a coach with receipts. Okay. I'm not going to teach you anything that I don't know about. I have been blessed to do a lot in business as an auditor and as a consultant. I've been in and out of more businesses than most people will ever see in their lifetime. Most people, I watch them, they're arrogant. They think they know a whole lot, but they probably only had like maybe 4 or 5 jobs their whole life. And for me, not only have I had a lot of jobs, but I worked in a career where I had to work with a lot of companies. So, and that blessed me and gave me a certain muscle and access to a certain amount of information that I can help you guys with. Just about anything in business that you're working on. So I wrote this here. Who am I to guide you? As a little girl, I dreamed of owning a hotel, an NBA team, and a hospital, just for starters. I built the hospital, and I did own a hospital for a while. Inshallah, will be able to do another one. I'm still working on the hotel and the NBA team. Okay. I had a great childhood with parents who worked very hard to maintain our middle class lifestyle. They pushed us to work hard and to be ourselves. I cared more about learning and studying business than I did about going outside and playing. That is the truth. My mother's in the chat. She'll tell you. I could be in the house reading a book. I would take accounting classes. And I think she kind of started me in that practice because when I was very little, I spent most of my free time doing workbooks and reading. My mom used to bring home the Kiplinger Business Report, and I would stay up late night reading each new edition over and over. I put them all in a notebook after I read them and pretended to be a businesswoman. That's how my childhood looked. Once I was grown, I was blessed to embark on a corporate career, like I just told you, as an auditor. Since striking out on my own, I have been a business consultant, developer, and crisis manager. All these roles allow me to learn about and understand hundreds of business models and industry. I've been very, very blessed and fortunate to have worked closely with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and learn and watch him in business and how he deals with controversy and how he manifests in the face of controversy. I worked at the National Center for, I forget how many years, a whole bunch of years, through most of my 20s and early 30s. And it was a really blessed muscle to develop at a very, very young age. Because we had to do everything. There was no, you weren't restricted to your career, right? So whether it was event planning or crisis management or security or organization or graphics or report writing or auditing, we did it all, and we did it all on very little sleep. And so it was ingrained into us how to conduct ourselves. And at the same time, we had to treat each other a certain kind of way. Because if you know anything about the minister, he is a stickler about proper handling of people. We wasn't allowed to act a fool, to cuss people out, to act ignorant, to be deceptive, to have a certain tone and a certain attitude. We really, really held to very high standards, to which I'm very grateful for to this day. And I contribute that to when I first came in the nation, I was on my way to a program in France to learn international business and finance. Well, I got my PhD from what I ended up doing next. So anyway, once I was grown, I was blessed to embark upon a corporate career as an auditor. I read that part already. While I was a rock star in the corporate world, when I finally set out as an entrepreneur, I felt like a fish out of water. I doubted my abilities left and right. I was a hard worker. I was smart. I had business experience, but struggled to make the transition from technician per se to entrepreneur. I had all the right professional components, but needed to tweak my mental strategies in order to make the money that I felt validated my commitment and allowed me the freedom to create for a living. Let me say this. Isn't it interesting that those of us that come from the background where we got the good grades, we were the honor roll student, we checked all the boxes, we did everything they told us to do growing up. Isn't it interesting that the people who was out of control, undisciplined, generally didn't follow instructions are the ones who got to millionaire and billionaire status before us? That's because most of us were trained. If you grew up, like I did, and you like a late 70s and 80s baby, then you grew up knowing that checking that box meant you was going to get that good job. and we're products of the Industrial Revolution. And we are the model workers that revolution created. The Industrial Revolution created people like you and I, who are career employees. It takes a while to break out of that, because doing well in this educational system generally means that you are practicing the model of being a good employee. We were not taught the mindset of becoming an entrepreneur. In my case, I dreamed about it, but it was certainly something that was separate from school. I read about it, I studied about it, I wanted it and desired it so greatly, but it was certainly separate from my education. Okay. All right. After years of study, prayer, discipline, and mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual training, I realized that I didn't have the mind of an entrepreneur. I did not have the mind of an entrepreneur. That's why I started writing. This is why I started writing these essays. I did not have the mind of an entrepreneur. My heart was too soft, and my heart is still soft. I thought everyone wanted me to have what I wanted, and that I just had to show up and the world would hand me my rewards. I also thought that if I was struggling, that people would give me grace, that people would give me mercy, and that people would love on me, because as that smart little girl, I was trained that if you check all the boxes and do the right things, then you're going to be successful. I allowed myself to get bumped around, bruised, hit in the head, talked about, neglected, and pretty much left for dead, all because I thought being smart and having a good work ethic was enough. Being smart is good. Having a good work ethic is even better, but it's not enough. There's a holistic approach to becoming an entrepreneur that we have to learn, unless we run the risk of doing business in a manner in which has enslaved us and imprisoned us and fired us and laid us off and marginalized us. Okay, we may not get to the whole concept of marginalization, but let me do this. Let me I think I put it here in the chat somewhere. Where is it? Because I do want to cover this. The first chapter of the book, when you guys get to it, is called Marginalization is an Equal Opportunity Offender. Okay. Oftentimes, those of us that come from a certain class, we don't believe that we're marginalized. Marginalization simply means treatment of a person, group, or concept as insignificant or peripheral. Okay. And to give you a really good example of what marginalization means, I wrote this so that we can get off of our high horse. Okay. Whether you're a 70-year-old retiree, a disabled veteran, a returning citizen, a stay-at-home mom trying to re-enter the workforce, you are marginalized. But these are just the most obvious examples. Marginalization casts a much wider net. Even today's college graduates are marginalized in the pursuit of limited opportunities for highly specialized jobs. So you can be marginalized in your church, in the mosque, in your family. All it simply means is that people treat you in a way in which you are considered insignificant or peripheral. And this kind of treatment, which is how people, I call it in the matrix, are handled, is what can mess your head up. Because what we're taught growing up is that if I do all the right things, then I'm going to be in. I'm going to be seen. I'm going to be recognized. Why? Because as our children are growing up, they begin to see the world through the way in which the world sees us. That's why they lie and say, oh, I want to be a neurosurgeon. Oh, I want to be a metaphysical scientist. And they make up all this stuff because what do? We go, oh, yes, baby, that's good. And so they get used to those accolades and then get out here and get in college and they don't like neuroscience. They don't like medicine. They don't like engineering. They don't even like school. They don't even like themselves. And then all of a sudden, here comes the marginalization. Here they go getting treated as insignificant or peripheral for whatever reason. And this has nothing to do with race. It can be within your race. It could be within whatever subgroup you want to make it. It could be in your neighborhood. It can be on the playground. So what we're working to do is that if we ever find ourselves marginalized, that we know how to navigate our way around it and not become victims to it. Some of us are marginalized because of our last name, because of our religion, because of our culture, because of our race, because of what block we grew up on, what school we went to, what school we didn't go to, because of lifestyle choices, because of hair choices. We're always marginalizing people because we're colonized people. That goes for Black people, white people, Asians. Most of us are colonized people. We're babies of the colonizer. And what did the colonizer do? The colonizer put us in groups and pit us against each other. And guess what? That grouping began to brainwash us to the point where now they don't have to do anything because we're the brainwashers. We brainwash ourselves. So this first chapter, go back and look at it, is going to talk to you about how to navigate around being marginalized. And it doesn't matter who you are. You could be in the rich girls club. You could grow up and all your parents are worth, 7-8 figures. And you could still be the marginalized one. Maybe your hair is a little kinkier. Maybe your lips are a little bigger, your nose a little thinner, or something about you. It could be your body shape. It could be your weight. It could be your boyfriend, your girlfriend. It could be anything. But as babies and children of colonizers, we are always looking to make a difference. This is why we talk about people so much. This is why y'all can't. That's why I'm talking fast, because I can't wait to let y'all off of here so y'all could go watch the debate. This is why we look at things like this. This is why ratchetness is so unified. That's a colonizer's mindset, because we want to go somewhere where we can feel comfortable doing what we've been brainwashed to do. We've been made comfortable to make differences. Light against the dark, tall against the short, the old against the young. Soon as we walk up on somebody, when you having a meeting with somebody, you could probably literally see and feel them analyzing you, looking at your face, making note of things about you that are different from them and ways in which they may be better. This is the babies of the colonizers. And so we got to decolonize our mind. We have to decolonize our DNA. We got to change our epigenetics. So we got work to do. Okay. Let's see. Love you too, sis. Thank you. Sister Karima says she get quiet, and we talked about that. Brother Ronald said the interesting point. Oh, Sister Karima, your heart that loves is why you will always be blessed and favored by Allah. Thank you, Sister Karima. That's so sweet. Got a heart from Mom. Let's see. Sister Karima said, I came from Black affluence. However, I learned at a very young age that I was still treated either with exceptionalism, which is a sickness, or as less than because of my color. It's always going to be some difference. It doesn't matter. And in the Black community, we don't like to admit it or not, but we are divided by class. This is why a lot of us have so many challenges when we come into the church or come into the mosque, because in the outside world, We're divided by class. So when we come into the church or come into the mosque, we're going to be working with people. We may even have to report or deal with people or work on projects with people that we would never interact with in the world because of class differences, because of socioeconomic differences, right? And so now we're put in an environment where we are not supposed to make differences. We're not supposed to look at each other and divide ourselves and pick each other apart to the point where we criticize each other and tear one another down. But a lot of us got to work on that because we're always nitpicking and mining for differences. We're always looking for differences. Brother Ronald said, we meet and overcome those small barriers. Don't let that stop you. That's exactly right. And that's what this is all about, Brother Ronald, is the fact that once we raise our awareness about the impact of marginalization, you want to go old school, you could call it Willie Lynch. You could call it being a baby, we're all children of the colonizers. Okay. However you want to see it. All right. Raising our awareness of it is what's going to help us get over it. Tom Burrell, the great advertiser, says we should do a course on his book. But he says that at a certain point, the brainwashed become the brainwashers, and then the original designers of the system, they can just lay back. This is why us as Black people, we go into business and we become dark-skinned white people. And we have no softness, no desire to support what our fellow brother or sister may be going through or have gone through. We literally drive one another close to suicide with how we treat one another because of this nasty thing called marginalization. All right. So that's chapter 1, y'all, and the introduction. Next week is the next chapter. This chapter was Marginalization as an Equal Opportunity Offender. Next week is Conversations with Yourself. Create the inner voice of an entrepreneur. We're going to have that conversation next week. Join us tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Central Time, for the Sajdah Morning Coffee Talks. We talk about life, love, and business. And tomorrow I'm going to talk about how life just be lifing. Life be lifing, y'all. Listen, hate has spoken so loudly. I heard Marianne Williamson say this. Hate has spoken so loudly for so long. Love has got to stop whispering. I'm going to say it again. Hate has spoken so loudly for so long. Love has got to stop whispering. My version of that is to say to us, ratchetness has been united for so long, and they're still united. Consciousness has to begin to do for self, and we got to be able to support one another. When you see somebody trying to do right, when you see somebody struggling, do not step on their neck. Don't push your ink pen into their jugular. Unite. Conscious people, spiritual people, we have to unite. When is the last time you supported? When's the last time you liked and subscribed to somebody's channel that is conscious? This chat should be lighting up just like them ratchet YouTube channels be doing when they be going here talking about people and cursing and being negative and arguing and cussing and fighting. People are subscribing. They paying $1.99 a month. They hitting the like button. They going in the Cash App. They are united. They got a whole campaign around ratchetness. And then because they're so united, guess what? People invest in it. Sister Mecca, who was on Basketball Wives, she hit me up on the on Instagram when I made a post about this and talked about how she would try to say something to the producers like, hey, can we do something else? And they're like, no, this is what the people want to see. Well, why not make this kind of stuff what people want to see? Let's force people to start investing in this. It's enough of us. And guess what? If they don't, it's enough of us to generate enough revenue. We got enough money flowing through our community that these businesses and these programs that we're trying to get off the ground, if we only would just unite, those things can happen overnight. But as long as we impatient with one another, we got an issue, we got an attitude, we all caught up in our feelings, and we dealing with all this trauma, and our egos all messed up, and no, everybody trying to get over on you, and you panicking, it's not gonna happen. So before we go, let me say this: find your tribe. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build a circle of people who are like-minded, where we can support one another, we can love on one another, we can give each other a chance, share with one another, build each other's businesses. If this type of group ain't for you, find one that's for you. But if we don't start healing, this is why we're going to continue to find that more and more of us are going to be caught up in these lonely spirals where we sitting somewhere by ourselves with nobody there to support us, nobody there to love us, nobody there to take care of us when we just need something simple, because we're not taking the time to build a community that loves one another. But guess what? Ratchet people got a community. I'm telling y'all. All right, y'all. Peace and blessings, family. Love you. Sister Karima said, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Excellent information, Brother Ronald. Thank you. Greetings and may peace be upon you and your family. You are on point. I agree. That's from Neo Nazar. We did not acknowledge him. All right, family. Love you all. I know y'all about to go watch the debate. I'm going to go watch it too. We might talk about it a little bit tomorrow, but I hate to waste this precious airtime on some of this kind of stuff because anyway. All right, y'all. Peace and blessings. Make sure you give a love offering. It's right here on the bottom of the screen. If you don't have your glasses on, like Sister Karima didn't have her glasses on, it's in the chat. Okay. Take a moment, hit the super chat button, or simply Cash App and support. I want to be able to keep this information coming to us for free. All right. Peace and blessings, family. Love you all. See you all tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Central Time. Life, keep lifing.